Hello, Ravens fans, and welcome to another conference preview. I'm Aaron Schneider, the Sports Information Director at Anderson University, and joining us for our men's basketball conference tournament previews is head coach Carter Collins. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Okay, well, first let's talk about the season a little bit. Obviously, we can't we're coming off having a share of the regular season title. Just we were up in the we had we had the lead in the conference standings in some way for most, if not all, of the season. I'm just go through kind of what's your takeaway on the season is.
Yeah, it's been a really good year. The guys kind of bought into the ideas that we had set out for the season on both ends of the court. Offensively, we've been pretty strong throughout, and that kind of derives from the guys' unselfishness. We haven't had any sort of ego problems on the team, guys looking to get their own points or whatever else. And that makes us pretty difficult to guard because we do have a lot of talented players that can beat you in a variety of different ways. And so if you focus in on one or two guys, we have plenty of others that can beat you. So to me, that's been the key to our success offensively. Defensively ended up being kind of different than what I expected. We did switch to playing mostly zone kind of in the middle of the year, and give the guys a ton of credit for that. They bought into it and they picked up on the zone and its concepts pretty much immediately, and that allowed us to continue to be successful even though we were kind of going through a change in the middle of the season.
All right, and then another dynamic to our season that's been unique aside just from our record, but is the number of close games and overtime games. Tell us how that's gonna impact us for the conference tournament.
Yeah, we've certainly been in a number of them. There was at one point in the season, in the last 15, 16 games, I think like over half of them had been like within 3 points at the end of regulation, which is a crazy high amount. Certainly feels like we've been in every type of different possible situation that we could hope to see at this point. And so I do think that hopefully that could have some advantages as we head towards the conference tournament. If we find ourselves in some close games, we've certainly been in a number of them this season, and for the most part, they've gone our way. We've been pretty good in those situations and circumstances, and so I feel pretty comfortable with our ability to close those things out at this point.
Okay, and then I do want to take a little bit of time to just kind of go through, break down our roster a little bit, because we've certainly got a team where we've got about 8 or 9 guys where if they show up and have an outstanding game, it wouldn't be at all a surprise.
Yeah, 100%. That's been the biggest key to our success, has been how deep our team is, 1 through 16. We got, primarily an 8-man rotation that we play with, and, I feel really comfortable with all those guys, and there's really very little drop-off when you sub in the guys that don't start the game, you sub them in, and things really don't drop off. And then all the way through the roster, we get guys who haven't necessarily seen a ton of minutes this year, but they bring it in practice every single day. They push us, they make us better. And so I've been really happy with just about everybody from top to bottom.
All right, and then so now we get into the conference tournament. This is true in a lot of sports, but especially true for men's basketball in our conference, where we've got Hanover in the semifinals, but on the other end, it's Manchester and
Rose.
It Rose? Thank you. I slipped a little bit, but yeah, any 4 of those teams are fairly capable of winning the conference tournament.
Yeah, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised to see any of the 4 of them win it. We've played close games with all 4 of those teams, and in fact, I don't think you would really say that any of the 4 games wasn't close. All 3 of the other teams are plenty capable of winning it. Almost everybody has beaten almost everybody else. And so, as I expect to see 3 really good games, first 2 of those on Friday, and then whichever 2 teams are lucky enough to advance on Saturday, that should be a really good one as well.
All right, and then what do we need to do this weekend to be successful?
Yeah, I think it's all about being us. I feel like when we play to the best of our abilities, we're pretty tough to beat. So offensively, we're looking to stay active, really working together to find the best possible shot in every possession down the court. We've done a pretty good job of that throughout the season, and like I said earlier, that's kind of been the key to our offense, and we have to continue to do that and really try to see if we can have our best 2 games in regard to that. On the defensive end, we just really got to lock in. There's only so many different things that teams are going to run against our zone, and at this point, we're pretty well prepared to guard most of those. And so, really it comes down to just us being locked in for the whole 30-second shot clock and trying to keep the team out of good opportunities. And lastly, for us, we got to rebound. That has been something that some games we've been fantastic, and other games we've been really not good at all. And that again is largely up to us, and our guys have to value it. They have to be focused on it. If we can have good rebounding effort, then typically I like our chances.
All right, well, I think I've covered the questions I wanted to. Ravens fans, thank you for tuning in. Be sure to follow along with any more previews, any more content that we may be putting out on YouTube. Of course, follow along with your men's basketball team in the conference tournament that is being held by Manchester University in North Manchester. So if you feel like making the trip, that's certainly encouraged. But if not, the games will be broadcasted on Indiana SRN. You'll be able to tune in that way. You'll be able to follow along with a live stats as usual. So be sure to cheer on your Ravens. Coach Collins, thank you for joining us, and good luck this weekend.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.